Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we are looking at the Blessing2. This is Moondrop. We haven't done a lot of Moondrops in the past. I've always been more toward the tantrum kind of things, or however you pronounce that, that I'm probably murdering. Uh, there's like no real rivalry between these two, but they kind of make, you know, they market kind of similar, even though they're different. Like if you take the Hannah is a single dynamic driver, and whereas Moondrop usually uses a variety of different drivers. Just look at the box. Inside the box, comes standard. You're gonna get the cable, and here is an airline adapter. Um, the IMs come on here. You get your various, warranty things and quality control. You get different filters here to change out sticky ones. And they give you a pair of tweezers as well as the very wide tips that is needed, because it does have a very wide thing. It doesn't have traditional nozzle that you would get with most things. Just put that back. Most things you get a traditional nozzle with the lip, and it's locks on to the tips, but this doesn't have it. This one, honestly, if somebody didn't know any better, if they knew like a little bit about IMs and they looked at these, they would think these are custom because of the way the nozzle looks. It's just a clear resin nozzle with no ridge or anything, and the sound tube goes right out to it. So let me get a close-up of that if we can without looking at the other stuff. There we go. Beautiful shell on this. This is medical grade resin, by the way. There you see the different balanced armatures and a dynamic driver. And it's got this kind of machine metalled faceplate. I wish this Blessing thing was engraved in it. That would have looked much better. I really did like the original Blessing for the looks. And you also get this nice case. These are not included. These are the spin fit tips that I tried out with. It's got a nice little pouch there. This is a hard case, so it is soft, but it does have like hard material in it too to protect your investment, because these are, they're not cheap. They're like $300. Get a little Moondrop cable organizer. Here's your cable. The one thing I would say about Moondrop, I'm sorry, I have the AC on, and the pollen this year, as you probably know, is just horrible. So my allergies are bothering me. So forgive me if my voice cracks. So, Moondrop makes a very pretty cable, but honestly, it's always on the thinner side, no matter what you're paying for the IM. There's that beautiful splitter with the Moondrop symbol there, kind of similar to the Chew. This is a nice copper cable. It will tangle a little bit because, it is on the thinner side. Plastic L shape at the end. Preformed hooks as well. This is the other side. You can either get this with a character or you can get this plain. And they also have different variations of the Moondrop. There is the ones with the colored face plates that are resin. They come in red and I think blue and other pretty colors. But you see the preformed hook and the cable. It's a decent cable. It is a very good quality cable. It's just not as thick as I'm used to. Like if you're talking about like the spring or the ink or some of the other IMs that I've used that are kind of higher up IMs. They're not exactly top of the line, but they're higher up in the tier. Obviously, top of the line. I don't know, where does top of the line start? That's a good question. Huh? Does it start at 600? Does it start at like 300 like these, or like 319? And it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get, the greatest thing in the world when you get into those price ranges. But you do notice a lot more of the tuning type that you want to get at that. You have to pick, though. There's a million types of tunings. Do you want a really good V-shape? I got the Metalors over there. Those are superb V-shaped bass head IMs. You want to have something that's just a great all-arounder with a non-fatiguing kind of thing. Spoiler, this would be it. because this really does have that particular sound to it. Well, let's get into the cable over here. Let me just do this all nice and neat, please. See, now, it doesn't tend to get very tangled. Obviously, when you have preformed air hooks, those suckers are going to hook onto everything no matter what. I mean, you could spend $1,000 on an AK set of AKGs like I used before, and you're still going to get a little bit of tangling. Anything can tangle. There's no such thing as a non-tangling cable. So I'm just getting a good look at it. So like I said, this is medical grade resin. I need my tip. I'll keep the tip off for the rest of the thing so you can see this nozzle and everything. It does look like a custom set though. Let me get off my notes. And so, okay, inside here you have a 10 millimeter, you can see right there. That's a paper cone diaphragm, a good quality paper diaphragm. None of those fancy diamond-like carbons or beryllium or titanium or any of the other things. It's just a simple, very well-built paper cone diaphragm. I don't know who makes that, but that handles the bass. Then you have dual soft ears. We know soft ears makes them very well high up IMs. We have the D mid A drivers, and those are for obviously the mid-range frequencies. Then dual nulls, and we know nulls as the BA, kind of the BA kings. They make a lot of BAs for everything. They have SWFK units for handling the treble extensions. So it's got some good quality components in there. This is 3D printed medical grade resin. We've already been over that. And what I need now is the specs, which I had. And I'm just going to quickly go through this. Okay. So 5 driver units in here. One of them is a dynamic. The others are balanced armatures. 22 ohms, 117 decibels. It's not, terribly hard to drive. But like I said, a DAC and an amplifier always makes things better. The price right this now is $319.99. Frequency response range is 9 to 37 kilohertz, but of course you can only hear 20 to 20 unless you're Superman. It's a 0.782 2-pin connector, easily changed. I have a dozen of those, if indeed you needed to change it for some reason. The tips, obviously, it takes a little bit of a wide bottom tip. I have quite a few of those, but not as many as I would like. So let's get into the bass. Okay, bass here, particularly sub bass, has a decent amount of depth and rumble. It's definitely not missing. The dynamic does a good job with that. It has a speed. It definitely is a very good controlled bass. Ultimately, the bass comes across kind of balanced. It's definitely not neutral. It does have a little bit of emphasis there, but it does have, a balance to it. Excellent attack, kind of it kind of rolls off kind of fast, in my opinion. The mid bass is good. It's got some punch there. It definitely has a quick roll off as well. Definitely there is just tiniest of mid bass bleed. I know I always say a slight, and how do you measure slight? There's less than I usually find on these for bass. It does add a little bit of warmth to those mids, but that's about it, which is good because then the mids aren't all cold and they actually feel pleasant. So bass ultimately not for bass heads. It definitely is more of a quality over quantity bass, but it's still there. It's far from lacking in the bass. Anybody will love it unless you're listening to hip hop and stuff. Then pop music and EDM and stuff like that, then you're going to want to look elsewhere. But for every other type of music, including jazz and classical instrumental vocals, OST soundtracks, You'll definitely find this pleasant and definitely non-fatiguing in the bass. We get into the mids, very good mids. The great mids actually here. The vocals, male vocals particularly, sound extremely good. There's some decent weight there. Definitely, they sound rich. Um, it's just very good detailed bass there, uh, and like I said, warm. The mids warm, but clear. Um, I would say they're kind of balanced sounding too. Maybe more toward the neutral side, but ultimately, like I said, there's that little bit of warmth. The upper mids don't feel shouty or bright or anything like that, which I found very pleasant. And female vocals, don't get me wrong, they sound very good on there. They're very, very good. They're in front of the instruments. They definitely sound like they're placed exactly the way they should be placed. There's definitely good details here. There's micro details to those balanced armatures, and ultimately the mids are just super pleasant, and they don't have that recession that you normally would get with something that has a lot of bass to it. So very good, clean, clear, a little bit of warmth, excellent details overall, super pleasant mids. Now we get into the treble. Now the treble here is unique, I think, for some, because a lot of times when I say that the treble is good and it doesn't have a lot of sparkle, we get into what's called relaxed or smooth or polite treble. And this overall doesn't have that. This has a decent treble. It has extreme control to the treble. It doesn't ever get harsh or sibilant. There is definitely very good energy here in the treble, even some good sparkle, but it doesn't overextend itself. It knows when to roll off, and it does it very well, where it's not, something that you're noticing that anything's lacking. So very different from most of the BA trebles that I've used, uh, including some of the higher end ones. Excellent job with the treble here. Treble heads, obviously, bass heads, treble heads, they won't like this at all, but it does do an excellent job overall. Getting into the sound stage. The sound stage is another kind of focus thing. I think that mids and the sound stage are the focus, but don't think that the treble and the bass are lacking whatsoever. Um, the sound stage is very wide. It is a little bit less in the height and depth, but it's still there and it sounds very good. Um, it doesn't get any congestion. It doesn't suffer from that, even on the busiest of tracks. It definitely has a good feeling to it. Placing, imaging is accurate and very well done. I mean, you could probably use these for gaming, um, but ultimately, these are just made to enjoy the music or whatever else you're doing. Media, I would say that they're very good. I did listen to a lot of media with these, and it sounded very good too, movies and stuff like that. So they're excellent overall. I guess that would be basically my conclusion with this. If you're looking for something that's a very good overall, non fatiguing kind of sound with a decent amount of energy, treble, sound stage, very well controlled bass, excellent mids, and treble is super controlled as well, that's this one. It just sounds really good. I really do like this for certain particular types of music. If you're going to be listening to rap, EDM, hip hop, just ones that do that, YouTube videos, anything overly bass boosted. No, don't look here. Not that it can't do that. It definitely doesn't fall apart like the CS16 from CCA that couldn't handle bass at all. Um, but ultimately, it can handle it. It can do it. But it's ultimately it shows its stripes when you're listening to different other types of music. But it is a very good all arounder. You could just listen to any type of music you wanted all day on this, and there'd be no issues. Unless, of course, like I said, you're a die-hard treble or bass head looking for that extra oomph. You're not going to find it here. It's just a well-tuned IM, extremely well made, very comfortable, very good isolation, great accessories with it as well. Um, that's basically all I can say about it. This has been the Moondrop Blessing 2, the original one, because there is a dusk one that's a little bit differently tuned. There are ones with custom faceplates and colored kind of glossy faceplates. I don't know what the faceplates, if they're made out of resin as well. Really well made product. Really great sounding product. That's basically all I can say about it. It's just, I like it a lot, to be quite honest. And it's kind of made me into a Moondrop fan having this in the chew now. I like Moondrop. I haven't done a lot of Moondrops. Like I said, I had the Lib Sleed, if I'm saying that correctly, and also the Nameless and the Chacon, and another one. I can't think of what the other one is. And I did try the Blessing 1, the one that was the all white. I don't remember if it was porcelain or plastic, but it was all white looking, very pretty looking as well. Um, that's about all I'm going to say about it. Very well tuned, great all arounder, excellent build, excellent tuning, very good quality IM with some great accessories. Um, and if you know, you know, Moondrop makes some really good products. Thank you so much for watching. I'll leave a link down below. Please be safe, and I'll see you in the next video. We've got a bunch of them coming out. Thanks so much.